Hi guys, this is a Revelation 117. Very faint. Over there. Revelation Model 117, 22 short, long rifle. Western Field Auto Supply Company, made in USA. These were made for Western Auto by Mossberg. I'm not sure of the year, it must be late 60s, 70s, somewhere there. The Mossberg equivalent of this was the 407, and there's very limited info on this. Anyway, what this has come in for is the owner wants it reblued, well, obviously just the steel parts of it, because there's very little bluing left, and that looks like some sort of a flux run, as if somebody's, I don't know, maybe wiped it down, maybe a light acid, I don't know, because it does appear that it's running under the wood. And then also the mag tube in very similar condition. Same there, there's like a solvent run, flux run down there. But before I get to do that, I need to get it to work first. So see, the stock was broken at some stage, and somebody's patched in a piece there. It's not the same grain, so that's a patch, and that's looks okay. It's not working. It's not. Uh, it's a single shot at this stage. It's got the weirdest mag tube, and I don't know if this is correct. The photographs that I see of these mag tubes, that looks right, but this appears to be way too long. It appears as if this should be, the tube should end there from the photos I've seen, but it is certainly a weird feeding mechanism on it there. So if you work the action with this in, this goes up into the action and jams up the whole thing. So there's obviously seems to be a problem there. And then if you work the action now, there's a little spring over there that just stands up on its own, and right there at the tip of that punch, or that dowel, piece of dowel, there's a little spring there, and the lifter is not lifting the shell up, so the bolt goes into lockup and all of that. So before I'm going to pull it apart, I first want to get it to work. Okay, side plate's got a single screw. Pull the screw out, side plate should come off. Seems to kind of slide down and out, and that's what it looks like inside. And I got to figure it out from there as to how it works. I don't know if everything's even here. Lockup works fine. Okay, I sorted out the feeding problem of this rifle, and it had 4 problems, or 4 issues. So the first one was it was assembled incorrectly, in that spring, and it might not have been incorrectly, somebody might have pushed the spring off its correct spot. That spring, this lifter is continually being lifted, and what happens is the bolt pushes it down to accept the next cartridge, and it brings it in. And it's kind of a controlled feed system that lifts up the cartridge in under the extractors, and it's got 2. It's got the primary extractor that side, and on the other side of the bolt it's got the secondary extractor. And what it was doing was, so there was no pressure on the lifter, so that was the one problem. I got that sorted out. Then it wouldn't accept the cartridges onto the block, onto the bolt, because the secondary extractor on the other end was not holding the cartridge, so it would double feed. As soon as you pull out the empty, it would let go of that one, and the gun would jam up again. And got that sorted, and then the chamber, the firing pin is at the top, and the chamber has been um, hit on the top by the firing pin. So there was metal flowing into the chamber. So I had to iron that out, and that solved that. And then the final problem, and I still got to sort that out, is in the process somebody yanked this spring, and it's got the feeder, or the follower, the magazine follower that pushes the cartridges up. It is just a thick spring because it needs to be flexible in the way this gun has been designed. And this got stuck at some point, and somebody pulled it, and they stretched that spring out. Now it's way too long, and it actually shoots into the action. On a regular 22, you got kind of a tube fed, you got kind of this system, but that can't work on this gun. This is off a different rifle completely, because this needs to be flexible. What Mossberg did when they designed this, they gave it this spring as the magazine follower. And it's got a regular plug that's pushed, but this has to be able to flex. But what's happening is it is sticking out like 2 inches out of the mag tube. It's sticking out that much, and it should only be about that much. So this spring was supposed to be compressed originally, and because this got stuck because of the feeding issue there, somebody pulled the magazine and stretched this spring out. So I'm going to have to shorten the spring, and it will work because it can still do what it needs to do. So I just need to determine the length of that, and then so it feeds. But when you get, if the last round goes through, it shoves this up into the action, calls it up like that, and then you got to undo the whole thing. So now that I got it working, I'm going to break it down so that I can reblue the barrel and the mag tube. It's got 2 pins like a shotgun on the trigger group, and then you just got to knock those out. You got to open the lever halfway because it's got a fork, and if it's closed, it hooks on that. The fork hooks. Yeah. So if you got the lever closed, that fork can't let go of the actuating bar or the action bar. Got to have the lever so it can get out. I'm going to do nothing to this. I'm just going to clean it. It's aluminum. There's the bolt. So there was no tension on the secondary extractor. I got it out and I bent it in, gave it tension, and the way it works, it picks the cartridge up and it slides it in from the bottom through there under the extractor. And you can see it's been dry fired a hell of a lot. If you look at the damage on the firing pin, and if you look at the chamber, you can see a groove on the breech face over there. That's the firing pin that hit the breech face there, and then the metal flowed into the chamber. So I ironed that out, and that solved that. This is the ball that it slides on. Just slide it all the way back and out, and it's got a little locating nub at the back where the lever interacts with. So that's as far as the action's concerned. All of it's out, and get the woodwork off. Got 1 screw at the front, and the screw doesn't have to come out, but I'm going to glue it while I'm doing the rest of it. That's what's coming out. Wood just slides on. Wood's in good shape. I'm assuming the stock comes in through the back like a shotgun. I'm not sure that these screws are original. They look like brass hardware screws. And they also go in very loose. You can't put all of these, they're too thin. flathead screwdriver on the stock. Just a long machine screw. Now the magazine tube needs to come out. There's a screw right there, a mangled screw inside of the mag tube. There you go, got a thin baby screwdriver, way too small for the job, but it works. And the mag tube's not fighting us at all, it just slides out. It's only held in by that one little screw. That is weird if you look at the way the cartridges come in at an angle. The cartridges are coming in at an angle like that. Got that Revelation 117 out the bluing pot. Now just to get it all reassembled, it's got a very low part count. I'm going to start with a mag tube. Mag tube comes on with one single screw. And I'm going to put a dab of Loctite on the screw. The screw was marred up when I started, and I can understand why, because you got to get in with a very small screwdriver on a reasonable sized screw head. That's why I put the Loctite on there, because it's going to need all the help it can get. Got the rear sight. I'll put the rear sight on from right to left. I'll put a piece of cardboard in there to stop the sight from scratching the finish as it goes in. And I'm just tapping it until it's equal on both sides. The elevator went in with the high side to the front, so I'm going to do the same. Still use my cardboard to protect the top of the barrel. There you go. Sight's in. It's going to scratch up when the owner moves the sight, but then he scratched, not me. Next up, the front wood. That's got a big screw that holds that in. It screws through the wood. There's a steel insert there. I blued up that screw too. It was kind of marred up and all in the white. Stock's next. Stock was broken at some stage. It's been repaired by somebody, but the owner didn't want me to do anything. And it's not a bad repair, they could have just blended it in better. But maybe one day when the stock gets redone, that can be sorted out. Well, the trigger group goes in. I'm gonna put the action bar in. Okay, got the action bar in. You can put the bolt in. The way the bolt works is there's a hook there on an angled surface on the action bar, and there's an angled surface on the bolt there. And when you pull back on the lever, that angled surface goes in there and pulls the bolt down. The bolt locks up in that recess over there. There you go. So when the bolt's in battery, it locks up over there. As soon as you pull back on the lever goes in underneath there. It pulls back on the action bar. The action bar, first thing the action bar does, it pushes the firing pin back, and then it pulls the bolt out of that lug, and the gun cycles backwards, and then when you push it forward again, it will push it into battery. Our hammer will hit the firing pin over there, and bang, the shot goes, and then back out of battery. Get this in, you gotta have it slightly back, probably kind of over there. Have that fork to the top so that it can slide in on the lug right over there. There you go. Looks like you just got to hold your mouth right. And then you got 2 pins. That's it. So essentially it's complete. I put the butt plate on. But what I haven't sorted out is I have not sorted the length of this out, because I've been thinking of how am I going to do this. Because what this is doing is this is double the length it's supposed to be, and it just gets itself into the action over there, and it just needs to sit up against the cartridge stop, which is this little arm. Let's see if I can get it in focus. So this little arm is the cartridge stop, and that little piece there is where it needs to run up against, and so that's as far as it's got to be. So I'm going to chuck it in there. I'm going to put a dowel rod in the mag tube and push that spring up to the point where it's supposed to be. Okay, so that's where it must be. You can see if I push on it, it's pushing back. You'll see that cartridge stop move. I don't know if that's showing up. So when I push back on the dowel rod, you'll see that arm, which is the cartridge stop. You'll see it move ever so slightly. So right at that position, I'm going to mark the dowel rod right over there, because that's where I've got a reference point for the mag tube, or the inner mag tube has got a pin there. I'm going to mark it right there. And I'm going to put the pencil in there and rotate my dowel rod, leaving a line. There you go. So that's the length of my mag tube from there to there. So I'm going to take that and add that up to there. So that's how long my mag tube must be, from the beginning of the feeder over there where the feeder ends to the pinhole that locates the mag tube in that cutout where my finger is. So I got that hole, and that hole is what is the pin that holds the mag together, and that's going to sit right there. And if I assemble this that way around, get that onto its spring like that. So now I know from that point. That's how much I must cut off that spring at the back end so that it doesn't go into the action. Got it cut down, got it on the mag spring, cleaned out the tube, just feeding it all in so it comes out there. This end we got a cap and a pin. Okay, if we go back to our rod, our dowel rod, we got that hole lined up with, we got the hole line, that pin lined up with our mark on the dowel rod, and then we come in and put on the number there, putting this in there like that, and there's our spring, and it's not going into the action, it runs up against the cartridge stop. So the way this works, I got a handful of dummy cartridges. They're right there. Bang, you fire the shot. The next one goes in. There you go, guys. All complete. Just rub the stock down with some ballistol. Same with the wood up front. Did nothing to the aluminum receiver or lever. Reblued that screw. Reblued the sight and the elevator. Reblued that screw. Reblued the plug on the magazine tube. And reblued the mag tube. Reblued the barrel all the way through. Now you can actually read the Revelation Model 117. I think it looks good. Hope you guys found that interesting. Hope it helps somebody out there. Stay safe. We talk again. Cheers.